morning everyone, this is Robert Radford with 50 Years of Chess on this wet and dreary day here in Bristol, England. I hope everyone is fine. More games for you. This game I put on earlier, but it was one of the earlier ones, and I'm rehashing the old ones and trying to do a better job of them than when I first started out doing this. This game against an old friend of mine, Arthur Hibbitt. Arthur is a great character. Known him for many, many years. We were buddies together at Grendel Chess Club in Bristol for a year or two. And we also went on some congresses together. Most notably when we played over at Newport in Wales. We had a great time there with my son, and it was a good congress. Last time I saw him was down at Clevedon on the coast, just outside Bristol, in a congress there. That's about 2 or 3 years ago. Arthur would be 81 now, and he's about 9 years older than me. Maybe, so I think, yeah, about 9 years older than me. And this game was played in 2005 in the Bristol League Congress, and Arthur's rating at the time was around about 1795, and I was lower. I was a lot lower than I have been, at about 1690. I was a bit up and down in the early days when I was playing chess. I didn't get a sort of a regular, steady grade rating to later. But this was an interesting game because of the opening, especially. So I'm going to share this game between Arthur and myself. It was played on the 28th of January, I believe, 2005. What were you doing then? Can you remember? 20 years ago? Right, let's have a look. So I was white, Arthur was black, and it was Sicilian. This is how it went. He played c5. Arthur played c5. Knight f3, e6. d4, cd, knight takes d, and then Arthur really surprised me with queen b6. Now this line it's not that well known. I looked up before I did this video. I looked up a video on YouTube with international master Andrew Martin, and he covers this. He says there's several ways white can go: c3, bishop e3, knight b5. All these are sharp lines and things. However, I just never played against queen b3 before, so I decided that maybe the best way was to just play knight c3, which is one of the main lines. So I just played knight c3 as normal, and Arthur brought his bishop out to c5. Obviously, if I move the knight, he's got bishop takes pawn check. So what I decided was, after a little think, I would play knight a4, and then when he attacks me with queen a5 check, which is what he did, I play c3. So I've got the c3, which Andrew Martin suggested in anyway, and what he did was, he can't play b5 hitting the knight because I can play b4. Then I'm forking the queen and bishop, and then I would escape with my knight after pawn takes bishop. So he played bishop takes knight, and I played queen takes bishop. So I've done all right here. I'm slightly better than him now. 2 pieces developed. I can play b4, and my knight retreats to b2. So it's not a problem. So from here, Arthur played e5. So I could either go queen a1, which I don't like doing these sort of moves because you just give the other opponent a chance to get pieces out. So I played queen c4 in the view of threatening the bishop on c8 with a check. So I knew he would play knight c6, which is what he did. And then I played knight c5, preparing b4 next move. and then I'm okay with my knight. I can go virtually anywhere with it. So he played d6 to attack the knight, and then I played b4, as I suggested I would do, and he retreated to queen c8, and then I placed my knight on b3. So that knight's in a good square. It's covering a5, c5, d4. It's not too bad at all. He can, of course, play bishop e3, and when I move the queen, he can go bishop takes knight, pawn takes bishop, which doubles my pawns, but he won't have any bishops left, and I'll have two bishops, and I would favour two bishops against two knights in open play. So what he did was play bishop e6, so I played queen d3, but he wasn't going to take the knight because he's a better player than that, Arthur. He's a very experienced player, been around a long, long time. Very good with openings. He learns his openings well. So he's played knight e7, and I played b5 to hit that knight and make him go knight a5. Knight takes knight, queen takes knight, bishop d2. Queen back to c7, c4, putting the squeeze on him in here, on the white squares, giving him very little to play with. He castled, bishop e2, f5. So he's not hanging around, he's getting on with it. He's got his pieces, he's actually slightly more developed with his pieces than me because I haven't castled yet. So pawn takes pawn is not good, obviously. So I castled. He played rook c8. So he's having a go at me here. So I played rook c1, b6, bishop b4. Now I'm looking hard at that d6 pawn, which he's going to have to defend. And he did. He played the rook on c8 to d8. So I moved my rook behind that pawn, so he can't push it. This is a really weak piece that Arthur got here, and I'm concentrating on trying to win it. And now he's gone back with his knight. He's decided he doesn't want to be defending with major pieces. He can defend with his knight, and he can also swing his queen across to f8 to try and gain some traction here. So I went pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn, and then queen into d5 check. So he can no longer move that bishop back to e6 now, and it's in a less better square in my view. So he played queen to f7, queen takes queen, king takes queen, rook c3. So he can go back with the bishop now if he so wishes, but he's at a bit worse situation. He's moved his king across to defend that pawn. Bishop e6. I was wondering whether he could have played e4, but then I could pin that pawn with the rook and the bishop, with only the bishop defending that pawn. So I played rook e1, king f6, bishop e4. So I'm happy with this situation. My bishops are very active. The white squared bishop's got a beautiful diagonal there. It's also attacking the h7 pawn, attacking the h7 pawn. And he played g6, f3, just cementing that bishop in there. Rook f7, rook now on e to d1. Again, putting pressure back on that pawn. It keeps that knight there. Now he's gone back with the king. King f2, bishop f5. Of course, if I don't do anything about this, he's got bishop takes bishop, and I cannot retake because the rook would be pinning the pawn to the king. So I moved the bishop down and attacked his knight on b8. Then I've got an after bishop takes, he'd have to go bishop takes, because if he went rook takes, I've got bishop takes pawn check. So he's moved his rook up to cover that pawn, rook f6, and I decided that his bishop is really strong, and I'd like to get that bishop off. So I offered him the chance to take my rook with his bishop and win the exchange, but he chose not to. Instead, he played e4, and he thought he was being crafty, because if I go bishop takes again, he's got bishop takes bishop, giving him a piece. So my mate Arthur was getting a bit greedy there. So I moved my rook across to a3. I was hoping to, had he swapped the bishop for rook, I would have had a lot of great joy on the white squares with my bishop. So he's now checked me with e3. I took that pawn. He checked me, rook e6. So let's have a look at this position. My pieces are all active. Arthur is defending with three pieces and a king, but one of those pieces, the rook, is actively attacking my king. So really, he's only got rook and bishop actively attacking, and he's in a bit of trouble here if he doesn't watch it, because after I go back king to f2, the danger is g4. What's he going to do about that? He's going to lose a piece, so he has to be careful. So he just missed it. After trying to trap me with that bishop, he's now going to find that bishop trap, which I like very much. I think he moved the king back to f8 because he's thinking of getting the knight out to e7, I presume, or double the rooks, maybe. Yeah, playing rook d8 to e8. Not sure, but anyway, that's when I played g4, and Arthur looked very shocked with this move. He'd completely missed it and realised now that he was in danger of losing that bishop. He probably should have took the pawn, really, and just kept it going. But he played bishop to c2, attacking the rook, and I just played the rook up to d2, and he's got real problems. So he went to rook to b1, and I played rook to b3, and that's when his bishop is completely trapped, nowhere to go, and Arthur decided this was game over. He didn't want to play. This was I think the last game in the tournament for us both, and I finished joint second with 3.5 points. So that was a game with my good friend Arthur. Really nice guy, really great guy. It's hard to believe that he's 81 now. He was, let me see, back then I was around 52 when we played this game, and Arthur was 61. So many years ago have passed. So thank you for watching. I'm just going to show you a picture of Arthur. So here's a picture of Arthur. I believe this was the tournament we were playing in. He was playing another opponent here because he's got white pieces. But that's how he looked then. Of course, he's a lot older now, as I said. But great guy. Loved him to bits. One of my very best chess friends. And I do hope I get a chance to see him again sometime. Maybe at another Congress. Maybe the Newport one in August, when my son and I are hoping to play in. And I'll bring you the results on my games there. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this game. See you soon. Cheers, thank you.